Great. Okay, I'll open a meeting. This is the Roads Advisory Committee meeting for March 25th, 2026. So we'll do a roll call. John Steele. Here. Jim Cox, no. Richard Daniel, no. John Durkin, no. Matthew Edinger. Yes. Michael Garcia. Here. Curtis Kelly, no. And myself. So we do have a quorum. Good. Okay, please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Thank you. Any public comments? Nope. Okay, minutes from our last meeting, February 25th. I get a motion to accept. A second? I'll second. Okay. So John Steele, yea or nay? Yes. And Matthew? Yes. Michael? And I say yes. Okay, minutes accepted. Okay, getting into the administrative updates. Fiscal year project 2023-24, Zone 5.
So, good afternoon, I guess good evening now. Chair and Roads Advisory Committee. So our 23-25 street improvement project is pretty much done. There's just a couple of punch list items for them to complete. But all the paving work is done, striping is in, and everything is kind of back in place. So
inspections been done?
Inspections are done. There's, just like 2 minor punch list items for them to take care of that we'll look at. But all the inspections have been completed, and we are in the process of looking at trying to get through the final bills so we can take a notice of completion to the council. So we've paid one pay app. The second pay app is going through the AP process right now. We are doing the change orders, so quantifying the change orders, and one of the last ones is to balance all of the line items because we do more of some and less of others. So I always go back through and we'll balance out those at the end of the project. We will definitely be over and eating into the contingency. We ended up doing a lot more R&R on this project. Once we ground the streets, we found lots of areas that there was really kind of like cobble rock in the street, and that was about it. No base pave. There was only about 2 inches of asphalt there, so we had to go in and do quite a bit of R&R on Avocado Crest and Dorothea and Lamont, and even a little bit along Fullerton Road as well. So all of that has been done and completed. And
did you say the contingency could cover the overruns?
It'd be within the contingency, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So which is good. So hopefully we'll have final dollar amounts and tallies. So once we have all the invoices and get them paid, then we can take it to council to close it out for that one.
You guys have any questions, comments? Oh, good. Okay, the guardrails.
Gerald completed another round of plan check on the plans. There's a couple of minor comments still left on those, so he resubmitted those to the design engineer last week for them to make those final changes, and hopefully that should be the last bit of changes we need for a guardrail, and so we can get that project ready to go out and bid. So we're almost there with it.
Okay.
It's not all the guardrails. It's like Hacienda, East, West, and a few other locations through town. Yeah, but not all of the guardrails.
Any questions? Comments? Nope. Okay, future roads funding. We're just, as a placeholder here.
Yeah, I was thinking we could kind of talk like that, spread that into the PMP. So PMP, we're in the update process, so we have provided all of the past projects from the last time that they were out measuring the streets and doing the survey work. So the micro paver system that is used to determine the PCI, they have updated all of that with all of the projects that we have completed. So it goes all the way back to the 21-22 project, is inputted into that system, and they're currently out doing survey work. So their field engineers are walking the streets and doing that survey work to be able to determine the PCI of the road segments out there right now. I've asked them to give us a few dates for where we might be able to, if you guys would like to go see that process in action and meet with the engineers that actually walk it and understand how they look at the road, where they look at the distressed areas in the roads to help determine the PCI. So hopefully we'll have a couple of dates out of them here. We're talking with Peter Bucknam today, trying to figure out some times where we might be able to have the committee go out if you have some interest and walk it with the engineers that are in the field. So hopefully that should be coming up. But as we're doing that, we're also looking at future roads projects and where we need to be and where we've been. So I have a little markup plan there. It's in front of everybody. So everything in there that is shown in black is all streets that we have done work on in the past 10 years. So kind of in my lifetime here, this is the work that we've done on the roads so far. So that kind of includes all of the District 7 projects so far and the 17-18 project, which was before District 7, are all included in this plan. So you can kind of see all the black roads there are the ones that are highlighted that we've done some sort of work to. We've either done grind and overlay, or slurry work, something. So we have been through and done work on those stretches of roads. What's shown in red are the roads that we have not completed. Some of those roads in red have had other treatments like crack seal or some stopgap measures done to them, like our chill, we crack sealed, those things. But we didn't really go in and do any like resurfacing or slurry work, which is going to really help protect the road or improve it or make it last a little bit longer. So since we've been all the way around through town, we are making the second pass for Zone 1 and Zone 2, which is basically the west half of the city. Kind of see the roads that are in that area that need to be done.
So looking at this, it just appears that we maybe have done not quite half of the roads.
Yeah, I'm going to look through and see if I can tally up like the actual lengths and mileages of what we've done and what's left to do. I know there's lots of talk of we didn't do every single road within District 7. I don't think that was, from what I know of District 7 and my time with it, it wasn't necessarily we were going to pave every single road in the city. We were really trying to get our PCI up. We were in the 60s trying to get to a PCI of 74, 75 into that range. So as we've moved through and in the little handout, there's two handouts up for you there. One with a single sheet, which has the streets that are in Zone 1 and Zone 2 that are in red on the plan there for you. So those are areas that need to be done. And also the larger one is all of our streets. So this is all of the roadways that are included with the 2 PCI ratings. So you can see when it was measured in 2019 and measured in 2022. So you can kind of see how those have stacked up through all of the time that we've had here. So it's kind of where we are. It's what we've been able to accomplish so far. There's talk of we should just slurry all the streets, just go through and do slurry and cover them up and not do any more grind and overlay. So when you look at the PCI range on there, so the way it breaks down, there is sort of a steep drop off as it kind of gets to where you follow more grind and overlay or a deeper grind and overlay. But that PCI range, so basically 100 to 85 falls in the very good. So those are the very good. That's going to be streets that have had work done to them, grounded, overlaid, slurry, something that's a good treatment to those roads will put you in the very good category. 85 to 75 is the good category. So those are streets that are prime candidates for like slurry work. So those are ones that you want to slurry to be able to extend the lifespan of those streets. you move into the fair road, so like 75 to 60 is what is fair. That's really where those are the roads that you want to be doing grind and overlay, because you're going to be a little bit past the lifespan of the road. You're going to have more distress to them. You're going to have more load distresses that you'll see, like alligator cracking and those things on those roadways. You get down a little lower into that, so like the 40 to 30, that's a real heavy grind and overlay. It might be 3 inches of grind and overlay. And anything that's below a 30 PCI is recommended that you do AC reconstruction. So that would be full removal of the road and then reconstruct the road, new base course, new overlay course. We did that on not this last project, but the project before on Deep Canyon. So Deep Canyon was a street that was a full reconstruction. So we went through, removed it all the way down. We put in a new 6-inch base course and a 2-inch cap for that roadway as part of it. So it's sort of the curve you look at. Typically, you want to do slurry. Anything above a 70 is what is recommended, like P&P will recommend. That's prime candidate for slurry work. That will get you keep that road viable a little bit longer than that. Once you kind of start dipping down between under 70, that's when you really should be looking at grind and overlay is the recommendation typically for those. So sort of the categories you look at as we kind of look through some of those numbers, and if you look at them, you can kind of see how they have gone down over time between the two measurements. But it's kind of for us to think about where we want to be, what we might want to do for the next project if we want to just go in and slurry the entire city. Zone 1 and Zone 2, if we did slurry based off of the other handout you have is the breakdown of the construction costs. So that's one we looked at before. I have some unit pricing on there. So last time we did slurry work was in the 2021-22 project. It was about 43 cents a square foot to slurry. So if we looked at all the roads in Zone 1 and Zone 2 that haven't been done, it's about $325,000 worth of slurry work based off of, if you look at the unit price from that time.
Yeah, but some of these PCIs are down in the 40s too, though.
Some of the PCIs are pretty low.
Hey, I already received complaints from some citizens or residents, I should say, that we only got a couple years left on our assessment. So how come all the roads haven't been done yet? And, my response is, of course, well, it's not over yet, but, we only can do what the budget allows. And then, well, what about the reserve fund? And I says, well, that's not our decision. That's city council has to deal with that, right? So, but there are expectations that assessment was supposed to cover all the roads in the city, and that's not going to happen.
There's been a lot of expectations of every road would get ground and overlaid, but there's just not enough money.
Well, no, at least get treated, if not ground and overlay, right? Even slurry seal or crack seal or whatever, right?
That's where we could look at that option if we want to move that option, and as we close out District 7, slurry everything.
Yeah, but then we're in a situation like the next time we have to go through it, like we found out on East Road, right? That you're just paving over a lot of shoddy work there. That there was 6 of one, half dozen of another. You guys have any comments? No?
So they say typically that will get you like anywhere from like 5 to 10 years of lifespan out of them, depending on what the condition of the road was before the slurry. So the higher the PCI is with the slurry treatment on it, it might get you 10 years. If it's a slightly lower, it might be theoretically additional 5 years worth of life out of it. Grind and overlay street, typically you'll say new asphalt, it's about a 20-year lifespan, depending on load, traffic, the weight on those roads, and whatever the base is below it.
I know we've had some presenters here that have looked upon slurry seal as nothing but paint. But my experience, I haven't really spent a lot of time in the East Coast, but they use some of asphalt on driveways back there. You don't slurry coat them every year. You don't have a driveway when the snow leaves.
Yeah.
So it does do some good there.
It definitely does. It doesn't last as much. I mean, I could tell you, like, the street I live on, it was Cape sealed back in probably 2019. So it's a slurry with the gravel in it. It's a little bit of heavier treatment. It's pretty much, you can't tell anything now, anything has ever been done to it. All the cracks that were there have come through. It wears away. Sometimes those treatments wear in a weird pattern. So they actually wear almost like in a washboard pattern. Some of it you can see in some areas. We've had a little bit of Cape Seal on Hacienda, especially, you know, north of Skyline, as you're kind of going down the hill towards Hacienda Heights. Like, if you walk those, I mean, unfortunately, during the trash cleanups, our Hacienda Road litter pickups, that's typically the stretch I work from our northern city limits all the way down towards like Canal de Sambre or the nursery over there. So I'm familiar with those roads because I walk them 4 times a year. And they are sort of wears in a weird sort of washboard pattern, is one of those things you can find with like a Cape Seal. But slurry, definitely, it helps, it protects, it gets you a little bit longer, it gives you a seal coat. And when you do the slurry, it's typically crack sealed as well. So you seal the cracks and slurry.
I know some of our streets, we don't really have the volume of traffic on them. I mean, we've never really denoted the amount of traffic versus what we're doing to them. Because, you know, some of them there's, you know, most all the cities are dead end, most of the streets. So
Yeah, I mean, to get off some of the, like, you know, west and east, and Las Palomas takes a lot of collector, you know, and Kenyatta takes a lot of traffic out of those neighbors out to Hacienda.
Avocado Crest gets some of it too.
Yep, and Reposado and those take a lot of traffic in and out from the areas. But you get into some of those smaller streets, Cananita and El Coanita, those ones don't, just the local traffic, so there's not a lot of traffic on those roads.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not just the traffic. It's what I've been saying. Brush and the start deteriorating the edge of the road, and from there it just moves its way further. When I left the house, somebody here in the Heights is doing what we, but it's the brush.
Well, that brochure we got in the mail, right, with the brush clearance, that also has a lot of the requirements that are going to be enforced for clearing.
It was soft pedals.
Say again?
We received that brochure.
Well, they had, you know, at least they had outlined the penalties, you know, cash penalties and so forth, so it's never been done before, that I've been here anyway. So we'll see. Wow, I'm looking at some of these. Well, some of these have already in this project we've been doing, right? I mean, last
Yes.
inspection date 2022.
Yeah, so a lot of the roads that the
Been
last
treated.
like 3 projects we've done
Yeah.
will get added. So as we complete the next PMP and get those lists, it'll get updated. But like if you look at zone 1 and zone 2, what's left in zone 1, the highest current PCI is a 62. In zone 2, it's a 63.
So, anticipating what the PMP is going to come back with, right? I think we're going to have to make a decision of where we continue to do it on a zone basis, or we just try to do the worst that we can. Because as I said last meeting, I'm concerned the money's going to run out, that we're not going to be able to spend not even $800,000 per project, right? Indeed, some of the talk is if we're going to have a tax assessment and whether it's going to be approved or not. And this District 7 assessment runs out in 2 years. What are the chances we're going to have another one, right? So I don't have much expectation to having a lot of funding after our 2-year runs out. So the question I have again is how we want to treat it. Want to do the worst roads, as many of the worst PCIs we can do, as soon as we can do them, rather than trying to locate it in a zone situation.
Definitely an option we can look at and try and do. We've been through all of the areas, some of the areas twice, with looking at it per zone. We could go after the worst roads and do it that way, or you could look at it as trying to go after the roads that are on the bubble that we might be able to do something to and be able to extend the life a little more.
Well, I'm pretty sure we could get one full project done next, and I'm not sure if we get another one done before the assessment runs out. So something to think about how we want to approach this. You guys have any comments, preferences? I'm assuming, we're still going to be in the $800,000 to $1 million range for the next project.
The last 3 projects have been over $1 million. So District 7 assessment brings in around $400,000 is about what that assessment is. And then the rest of it comes from restricted funds and general funds. So you figure we've been anywhere from like $1 million to 1.5 for just straight construction. Typically in there you look at the design is sort of hovers right around like 75,000. Then CM and inspection was usually running us like 120 to 180 for construction management and inspection. So all told, those projects are quite expensive when you look at design, construction, and the inspection component to it.
Any other questions, comments? So are we going to get a PMP review next month?
I'm hoping so. He's got it going right now, which is good. So once I complete the survey work, that takes the longest amount of time is getting all the survey work and out in the streets. Then once they put it into the micropaver, we'll start generating sort of these tables. These tables came straight out of the PMP, so this is right out of the PMP, and we'll start generating those so we can start looking at what has been improved and what is going down. Yeah, not an easy task one way or the other. I think our streets are either in really good shape, those ones that we have done work to, but it's a very steep drop off. As you go down in PCI, it goes down really fast. So kind of once you're past that 60 PCI level, then the road will start to deteriorate much faster because you got more cracking, more alligating, there's more water that gets into it and underneath it, and then just deteriorates a lot faster.
Any other discussions? Comments? Non-agenda items?
I have a question. If our city manager's been approached by anybody that wants to use drones or robots on our streets to analyze them. I know in Whittier, they have in the Michigan Park area and the Friendly Hills area, they're going through all the sidewalks and curbs with a robot. I don't know how it's laced together. I haven't been presented with it, so I don't know how it's laced together, but there's a bunch of them there, and they're going through everything. So apparently they're putting together a real plan. I don't know that would be any benefit to us. We just need more money.
Yeah, but it might be an interesting thing to sort of see how those studies turn out.
Yeah. I saw them out there. I thought they were delivering packages, and I asked somebody that knew, and they're not delivering packages. They're surveying the sidewalks and the curbs. So
Yeah, I
I
mean, that's
guess
a big.
it'll all be computerized and leveled out. I don't have any idea.
Like for us, like the only use of drones we have right now is going to be related to like brush clearance. So we'll have a little bit of drone and satellite that we will use with the fire score AI for the brush clearance aspect of it. That's all we currently have with drones.
So is Edison using drones in the city?
Edison does use drones to
look at
inspect the
tops of
lines.
the
Yeah.
the,
They
posts, of the poles.
Yeah, they first started doing it with helicopters, but that got people pretty nervous as you're flying pretty low with the helicopters over the lines. And then they moved to drones and found that they could do it quite efficiently and get a little closer to it and get a better inspection.
We get a lot more work done and a lot quieter.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Rafferty, I can tell by these tables, this is probably sort of like an Excel spreadsheet data collector, and you can probably sort it any way you want. Would it be possible to sort by the current PCI level and then overlay that onto a map?
Yeah, I can do that, yeah.
And then when we look at it that way, we can then maybe think about rezoning and putting together packages of bad shape roads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least do a color code of, the PCI range, anything like under 45 or something is one color, anything 45 to say 60 is a different color, or something like that. So maybe we can zero in that way on which should get the most attention.
We could definitely do that. We can sort it out, yeah.
So, what you said earlier, we're looking at a PCI of, say, anything below 50 is probably going to be grind and overlay.
Yeah.
And
Low 60s to
60s and so forth would probably be slurry seal.
once you probably get under like 65, we would probably start looking at the individual sections of road to see where it falls if we run grind and overlay or slurry.
Because we need a sort of some boundaries, right?
Like the PMP, like if we look at the PMP and their recommendations, they recommend slurry up to 70. So anything above a 70 would be like slurry. Anything below a 70 would be grind and overlay. So basically 70 to 30 be grind and overlay. 30 and below is reconstruction.
We have a couple below 30.
We do have we do.
According to this, I don't know if they've been treated before. Here's one to 19. Deep Canyon Road.
That was the one we did the reconstruction on, not this past project, but the
Right.
project before.
So 19 is probably not accurate then?
We completed it after this last round of PMP was done in October of last year. We did the reconstruction of Deep Canyon. So this go around, it should come back at like 100 or 98. Should be a much higher PCI now because we went in and removed the whole road and then reconstructed it.
Would you be able to highlight those items that we don't have to worry about? Like, I mean, if it's a 19, we're going to say, oh, let's start talking about it. But if it's just been redone, then we really don't need to address it.
Yeah, we'll only look at the areas that haven't had any treatments done to them because everything else that had treatments done to it, you can see the noticeable, like if you look through the big packet, you can look at some of those areas where it's gone from like, 14, 20, 30 to 80 or 90 between those. So we'll focus in on areas that need to be done and break it down that way.
So this sheet, the Zone 1, Zone 2 ones, you gave us this as,
These are the two zones that are over on the west side of town, which where we would be working next, theoretically. And these are the road segments that are shown in red. That would be the roads that we would theoretically work on as part of Zone 1, Zone 2.
yeah, so these would have been the first ones we would look at for the next round.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
There's some pretty ones. Huh. You don't have the Ren Los Palomas on here. So. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, just a little different subject. It was a few days ago that I think I saw some road closure signs on East, getting up close to the golf club. What's going on there?
Edison is replacing a couple of poles. So they'll be doing pole replacements in a couple of stretches where it's too narrow for them to be able to work in a single lane. So we're going to do a little bit of road closure there on East Road. Yeah, pole replacements for Edison.
One more question, going back to the guardrails. When is that going to go out for bid?
As soon as we finalize the plans and specs, it has to go to Caltrans for Caltrans to review. We've already done the environmental component to it, but Caltrans will review the plans, the bid packets, our environmental clearance portion of it, and then they'll give us like the E76, which is the clearance for us to be able to bid. When we did the striping in the signal, it was about a month and a half to 2 months for that Caltrans review.
So are we in between from the guardrail repairs that we did, some months back? We're not doing any repairs right now. We're waiting for this.
Only the ones where we've had some crashes. There's been some guardrails hit recently. We will be making repairs to those ones that have been hit. We had one on Hacienda Bike and out of Sombre, and then one on East Road, west of Churchill.
Is that the one that looks like somebody's driven on it and it's kind of hanging off the side of the hill?
No, not the one that's close to the golf club.
Yeah, that's the one I just recently noticed.
Yeah, no, that one's actually been that way for longer than I've been here.
It's been a long time. So.
Yeah, the other one is the one that was recently hit. It is closer to where the cart crossing is, closer to Hacienda Road.
On the far there?
Yeah, kind of as you kind of come up that hill and curve around, like 400 block of East Road. Somebody drove off into the guardrail the other night in a very nice car.
So the one closer to the entrance of the golf club, it's been like that for a long time, but is it in the plan to be repaired?
It's not in the plans because when we looked at that one, to be able to bring it up to current Caltrans standards, which is what we would have to do, it would take a lot of like regrading and geotechnical and retaining wall work on it. The estimate we got for the design component of it was about $900,000 just to do the design work for it.
Are we looking at any guardrails for Solahar, right off of West Road there? I mean, they cut down those trees and there's a big drop off and I just got some reflectors there, right? Are we looking at any guardrails there?
And this round of guardrail doesn't include anything for that stretch over there.
Because that's pretty dangerous, making that left-hand turn there. So.
We address
On the floor.
So there's a section there that has eroded away. Grace is actually in the process of getting bids to do the repair work on it. So once we have the bids in, we can take it to council and get approval and authorization to do the work. There's also a storm drain that has collapsed over on Vista. So we're in the process of trying to make an emergency repair to a small section of storm drain that rotted out and collapsed the roadway. So in the process of making that repair, an emergency situation right now over on Vista, close to Pine Edge.
Okay, nothing more? All right, next meeting, April 22nd, and hopefully we have a PMP to look at, and we can make some decisions for the next project, what we're going to do, and hopefully get it done for the next rainy season. Okay? All right, meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.